but please don't interrupt me during my time.
With pleasure.
Okay, I know I'm a woman, but please try to limit yourself to answering my questions. No, I'm sorry, but we get talked over all the time.
Hello, fellow Americans. You're welcome back to another episode of The American Enigma. If you are new on this channel, do well to smash that subscribe button to get more updates on uncensored analysis. On today's episode, we are looking into a fiery congressional exchange between Representative Linda Sanchez and a Trump-era trade official. The clip has been making rounds, and you know what that means. It's time for some real talk. So sit back and take a look.
Ms. Sanchez is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome, Mr. Secretary. There was no tax bill passed during the Biden administration, and I know that because I served on this committee during that administration. So I just wanted to clarify that. And in the interest of time, because our time here is limited, I'm going to ask you to please limit your answers to yes or no questions, and I'm going to jump straight into those questions. Mr. Secretary, do you still believe that the President's tariffs are going to be a one-time price adjustment for American families?
If prices go up, they will be one time.
Okay, well, unfortunately, you appear to be talking out of both sides of your mouth because you yourself have admitted, after conversations with Walmart, that some tariff costs are going to get passed on to consumers. And in fact, we've already seen that prices are rising on many everyday goods.
Congresswoman,
please don't interrupt me.
We had
the time is mine. The time is mine. Please don't interrupt me. I will ask you questions and I will grant you an opportunity to answer them, but please don't interrupt me during my time.
With pleasure.
Okay, I know I'm a woman, but please try to limit yourself to answering my questions. No, I'm sorry, but we get talked over all the time, and I don't want that to happen at this hearing.
I would remind members, the gentlelady is recognized. Please proceed.
Thank you. The time is mine. Clothing is going up 20%. Shoe prices and canned goods like chicken noodle soup and canned fruit and microwave meals have gone up 15%. Toys are getting more expensive. Walmart just raised the prices of dinosaur action figures by 38% and baby-born dolls by 43%. Household goods like drills, toolkits, vacuums have also gone up. Stanley Black & Decker recently announced higher prices for all of their products, and these are just some of the products that are affected. On average, Trump's tariffs are estimated to cost households $3,000 more for the same goods than they would have last year. And that's money that could be going to...
That's incorrect, and
that is
I'm
not
sure
incorrect.
Who's estimated.
The best estimates are that consumers will pay $3,000 more for the same goods
and that estimate is from
that
whom?
They did last year.
That estimate's from whom?
I will get you the estimates.
Right, because
that's money that could be going to paying goods or paying rent and groceries. And it's clear that Trump's trade wars are hurting American families. Yet all we have to show for the economic pain are news reports of these flimsy trade deals. And I understand, Mr. Secretary, that you are co-leading the China trade negotiations. Do you think that China is a reliable trading partner?
I think we will see.
Well, pardon me for being skeptical of this administration's ability to get anything meaningful out of trade negotiations with China, because this administration is too swamped with trying to negotiate with 90 countries around the world. And to me, a poorly negotiated trade deal with China is probably not worth the paper that it's written on, because this is China's China's track record. These are facts. In the Trump administration's Phase 1 trade deal, China promised to increase purchases of U.S. goods and services by $200 billion over 2 years. Countless reports, and you yourself, have noted that China has failed to meet these purchase commitments. Those were purchase commitments that were negotiated by Trump in his first administration.
They met their agreements under President Trump in 2020, and President Biden did not enforce them, and the Chinese delegation told me that they did not believe they needed to adhere to them.
I'm reclaiming my time. That's incorrect. China has also not made the structural reforms that they promised Trump that they would. Many U.S. companies still reported widespread intellectual property theft and counterfeiting. So excuse me if the last attempt by the Trump administration to secure meaningful change from China doesn't exactly inspire any confidence in the current negotiations. And, quite frankly, negotiating trade agreements with China requires more time and effort than this administration has given so far. And that's why I was alarmed to hear this morning that Trump said that the U.S. China deal was done after just 2 days of talks in London. Mr. Secretary, the press release on this so-called deal looks more like a framework. Congress, who has the constitutional authority over trade, needs the details of this supposed deal. So I'm asking if you will provide this committee with the actual details of this deal, because there has been, unlike what was said earlier, there has been no consultation with our side of the aisle, at least, on the China negotiation. Will you commit to giving us the specifics of that deal, the details?
Congresswoman, I flew back at 4 a.m. this morning to be here this morning, and we are...
It's a simple yes or no question.
No, it is not a simple yes or no question. We are in the midst of constructing it, and back to your question, China has proven an unreliable partner in strategic...
Will you commit to consulting with us on trade deal with China?
Gentlewoman's time has expired.
I would ask that the witness be allowed to answer that last question.
Gentlewoman's time has expired. I
It's
now
a yes or no question. It's very simple.
Representative, I raised many of your concerns to the Chinese delegation, and it will be a longer process. The trade deal today, or last night,
the left is about to tell you textbook projection, hypocrisy, and outright economic denial, so fasten your seatbelt. Through the eyes of a proud American who thinks that America should come first, let's dissect it piece by piece. She opens by bragging that no tax bill passed under Biden. As if that's a good thing? Well, let me remind you, no tax bill doesn't mean no taxes. Biden's inflation is the real tax, viewers. Every time you fill your gas tank, buy groceries, or pay your rent, you're feeling the consequences of this administration's incompetence. Now here comes the classic liberal talking point. Tariffs are bad. Prices are rising. Orange man bad. Let's set the record straight. Yes, tariffs can raise prices slightly, but you know what else they do? They protect American jobs. They make sure American steelworkers, farmers, and manufacturers aren't undercut by slave labor in China. And when this representative tries to play gotcha with Walmart's prices going up, she completely ignores the elephant in the room. China has been ripping us off for decades. Under Trump, we finally stood up to them. Oh no, not the dinosaur action figures. God forbid we pay a few bucks more to stop China from stealing our intellectual property, hacking our companies, and polluting the global economy with their garbage trade practices. This is the problem with the left. They care more about cheap plastic toys than they do about sovereignty, national security, and blue-collar jobs. Here's where it gets laughable. She throws around a $3,000 estimate like it's gospel truth. But she can't even name the source. She literally says, "I'll get you the estimates, right?" Then stumbles and never does. That's what we call economic fiction. Let's be clear. The so-called tariff tax is nothing compared to the Bidenflation that's gutted your wallet for the last 4 years. You want to talk about real economic pain? Look no further than the open borders, the war on American energy, and the radical spending sprees under this administration. Finally, a good question, but only because it proves our point. China is not a reliable partner. They never were. They break promises. They steal tech. They manipulate currency. And they laughed in our faces for 30 years, until Trump slapped them with tariffs and held them accountable. This representative claims the Trump administration didn't accomplish anything? Really? Phase 1 of the China deal brought them to the table. They committed to buying U.S. goods, and yes, they started to follow through under Trump. You know what changed? Biden took office and stopped enforcing it. You think China respects weakness? Think again. They respect strength. And they knew Trump meant business. This is rich. She suddenly cares about transparency and congressional authority? Where was that energy when Biden was signing executive orders like candy on Halloween? This is partisan posturing, plain and simple. The secretary rightly pushes back. He says negotiations are ongoing. And instead of engaging in real dialogue, she cuts him off. Repeatedly. And of course, when he tries to respond, boom, she shuts him down with "reclaiming my time." Ladies and gentlemen, this wasn't a hearing. This was a campaign ad. This was about scoring political points, not helping American workers or advancing national interests. Here's the bottom line. Tariffs aren't the problem. China is. And the only president who's had the guts to confront them head-on is Donald J. Trump. We're not going to win this century by bowing to the World Economic Forum, outsourcing everything to Beijing, or selling out our values for cheap goods. We win by standing tall, investing in America, bringing manufacturing home, and putting our people first. This exchange in Congress, it just shows you what we're up against. We've got leaders who are more worried about offending China than defending America. But guess what? The movement is rising. The patriots are awake. And come 2024 and beyond, we're taking our country back.
For a specific goal, and it will be a much longer process. And I will note that the previous administration did nothing.
But excuse me, the
Mr.
question
Arrington
was
is
whether
now
or not you
recognized.
would
The
consult
gentleman's
with
time has
members of
expired.
Congress.
Mr. Arrington's time
It's my time
is
now.
now Mr. Arrington's time, 5 minutes.
Let's talk about who really pays the price when we don't have tariffs. It's not the big corporations. It's not the bureaucrats in D.C. sipping their lattes. It's the American worker. You pull tariffs. Great multinational corporations start outsourcing again. We lose steel mills in Ohio. Auto plants in Michigan shut down. Farming communities go bankrupt because they can't compete with subsidized foreign markets. Tariffs are not a tax, they are a shield. A shield that protects our jobs, our industries, and our national security. You want to talk about cost? What's the cost of losing your job to a factory in Wuhan? What's the cost of not being able to buy American because nothing's made here anymore? Now let's shift gears to China. You think this is just about trade and toys? You think it's just about chicken noodle soup going up 15%? Wrong. China is our greatest geopolitical adversary. They've militarized the South China Sea. They've bought up U.S. farmland near military bases. They're pushing TikTok propaganda into our schools. And let's not forget COVID, that originated in China and they lied to the world about it. And somehow we're supposed to act like we can trust them in a trade agreement? Representative Sanchez wants to call Trump's deal flimsy? Lady, the only thing flimsy here is the backbone of people who think diplomacy works with the CCP. Let me just throw a spotlight on the insanity of what the left is doing. While they're whining about tariffs, our economy is collapsing under their own policies. Inflation is out of control. Mortgage rates are brutal. Small businesses are suffocating under regulation. And energy costs? Don't even get me started. They blame tariffs, but ignore the real causes. Trillions in reckless spending, shutting down pipelines, printing money like monopoly cash, and green energy pipe dreams that don't power a single truck in the Midwest. This administration inherited a roaring economy and turned it into a dumpster fire. And now they want to distract you with arguments over toy prices? No, we're not that stupid. And finally, this idea that Congress needs to be consulted on trade deals? Sure, that's fair. But let's not pretend the Democrats have any high ground here. Under Obama, Biden, and Clinton, they signed every globalist trade deal they could get their hands on, NAFTA, TPP, MFN status for China. All of them were signed without a second thought about American workers. You didn't ask for our opinion then, so why demand it now? If you want to consult someone on trade, how about you ask the voters, the people paying the bills, building the products, and keeping this country running? The elites don't own trade policy. We do. This is why 2024 matters so much, patriots. We don't need more bureaucrats in suits apologizing to China. We need fighters. We need leaders who will say what needs to be said and do what needs to be done. This isn't about Trump. This is about the movement to bring jobs home, to restore sovereignty, to get government out of our lives and put America first again. So here's what you can do. Vote in every election, local, state, federal. Support America First candidates. Boycott companies who sell us out to China. And spread the truth, because the mainstream media sure won't. So next time someone tries to tell you tariffs are bad, or China can be trusted, or Biden's trade policy is fair, you look them in the eye and say, I stand with American workers. I stand for sovereignty. I stand for truth. And I stand for the flag. Because at the end of the day, we're not red or blue, we're red, white, and blue. If you believe in economic independence, strong borders, fair trade, and American pride, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. And remember, they can't silence us, they can't shame us, and they sure as hell can't stop us. Because we're Americans, and we never back down. See you on the next episode. Until next time, stay free, stay strong, and God bless the United States of America.